Hey YouTube, Homestead Prepper, and I got a very interesting package in the mail today, and from HSP the Future, and it's to me. DVD, and it doesn't say anything on it. Let's see if we can open it up. Let's put that in there, and get this to come on. Let's see how long it takes this thing to load up here. Okay. This message is for the Homestead Prepper of past, and it comes from the Homestead Prepper of future, and this message is coming to you in your present. And I'm not really sure how I'm getting this message to you from the future, but I thought I would send it and just let you just give you a little knowledge of what's going on. I can't give too much away because I don't want to affect my present, which is your future. I think right now you're at the very end of 2012 or the beginning of 2013, and a lot of people are concerned about this legislation about gun confiscation. And let me just demystify that for you. What they were doing is really blowing a lot of smoke up in the air, and they made it sound really horrible, so that you would accept anything less than that. Well, I mean, you won't accept it, but it would make it sound more palatable. So what they did is they brought in some gun control legislation, and nobody really liked it, but it wasn't the extreme measures that everyone talked about. And right after they got that legislation through, it's pretty amazing, but they had another mass shooting, and some more people died, and it was very emotional, and the Congress and the President demanded gun registration. And the President, repeated over and over that this would not lead to gun confiscation. We just wanted to register the weapons so that it would make it easier for law enforcement, where they could track them, and they could find out, where these weapons came from and how the shooters got a hold of them. Well, a lot of people complained, but you went down. You were a good citizen, good law-abiding citizen, and you went down to the ATF and you registered your weapons. And I think it's kind of funny that my Ruger 1022 is considered an assault rifle. But what the ATF did is they shot a couple rounds through it. They got some ballistics, and they ID'd the barrel, the rifling in it, and they took pictures, video. They recorded everything. They also took them apart as much as you could, and they had this 3D laser scanner in there, and all that went into a computer. So there'd be no question of whose gun that was. And amazingly, right after they got done registering the very last weapons in America, they had another mass shooting, and then the President called for all semi-automatics must be turned in. And I didn't go over with a lot of people, and they said that he promised that wouldn't happen, and he said that due to the current climate, and 45 people were killed over the course of the year, that we needed to make America safer, and so they did a buyback program. A lot of people scoffed because they didn't want to pay enough money. So what the Congress did is they just started offering up a lot of money for these weapons, more than they were worth, and some people were cashing in enough to buy cars and houses and take trips. And just completely absurd amounts of money they were paying for these things. And the people who didn't turn their stuff in, who had registered them, the jackbooted thugs came by and burned their houses down and shot them as they were running out of their burning houses. You've probably heard about this before. Something like Waco. That's how they dealt with the dissenters. But anyway, people turned their weapons in, and then there was a mad rush. Everyone went out and bought revolvers, lever-action guns, bolt rifles, single-shot shotguns. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. In about 6 months, it kind of died down, and then there again, it seems kind of odd. They had another mass shooting, and the president called for total confiscation of arms. And but by this time, hyperinflation had set in because the government was just wasn't spending money on confiscating guns. They were also spending all kinds of money on everything else, and the price of food went sky high. It went so high that the truckers couldn't afford the fuel to make deliveries, and that created a lot of shortages, and a lot of people were hungry. And the government, what they did is they said they would give food for the guns, because they're so nice. And a lot of people had no choice but to turn in their revolvers and everything so that their families could eat. And they had, I've never seen that many guns anywhere. I mean, it was just piles and piles and piles. And they didn't have a chop saw like they did in Australia. They had one of those metal munchers like you see at a scrapyard, where a whole car will go in there and it comes out in little bits the size of a quarter. And incredible. And what's even more incredible is they sold all that metal to China, or gave it to them, or whatever. Now, as you can imagine, HSP, you were very outspoken about this and very hostile. And the government, they just went ahead and they'd already got rid of the Second Amendment, and they got rid of the Fourth. So they went ahead and got rid of the First. So you can say anything you want, as long as it's not political, have any political undertones or anything like that. You can't say anything bad about a politician. You can say something to one of their government-appointed speech people, and they can review it. But if you go out in public and say stuff to people, then what happened to you is you were out in public and they arrested you, and then you were put in a forced labor camp. And you were forced to break granite boulders down into powder for farming, and limestone, break that down into powder, and phosphate and all that. And what's amazing is you were there also with a lot of other people who were educated. I'm talking doctors, CEOs, and business people, radiologists, all kinds of stuff were in these labor camps. And you were worked 12 to 16 hours a day, no breakfast, no lunch, and at the end of the day, you were given an out-of-date can of Fancy Feast cat food and a little piece of hard bread that was stale. And that's what you lived on. You dropped down to about, I'm guessing, 70 or 80 pounds, and you were near death. And if it hadn't have been for the freedom fighters, you would not have survived. But fortunately, some people held out and had big caches of weapon, or caches, however it's pronounced. And they waited for the right moment, and then they distributed them, and then they came in and they saved us. And then I think it took me probably a year to recover from the beatings, the malnutritions, and everything. And I can't think of enough. It was really like being in a concentration camp. We were all put there to die, be killed with hard labor for speaking out against the government. So if you're wondering what's coming down the road in the future, that's what's coming. So I think you should make the necessary preparedness, be prepared. And anyway, this is what I wanted to relay to you. I don't know if I'll be able to get another message off from the future, but I just want to share that with you. Well, this is the homestead prepper of the future out to the homestead prepper of the past in your present.
Well, that's very interesting. I can't guarantee the veracity of what's in there. I can guarantee, guys, that if you look and you study your history, especially if you study what Stalin did, and Mao and Pol Pot and Amin, and a lot of those other dictators of the 20th century, you can pretty much get a picture of what's going to happen here in our future. So all I can say, guys, is those people who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it or endure it. So with that, like I said, guys, y'all want to do some Google searches on dictators of the 20th century and see what their methods were. It would probably be very advantageous to you and probably give you a good idea of what to prep in. Well, this is the Homestead Prepper out.